Oh, I've got a lot to talk about. I made a list. Short responses, in Danish we call them kortsvar. And this is going to be part of my online video course that's coming up called the Essential Danish Video Course, but also a part of the live course that's coming up the end of this month. So the last week in October, there are some new courses for beginners and intermediate learners. I've already had a lot of people get in touch with me, particularly intermediate learners, but if you are a beginner, let me know, because this is going to be something you're going to want to learn, you're going to want to go through, right? And basically this, well, I'll get into what it is, but this short response stuff is going to be super useful when using your language to continue to get into conversations quickly. Basically, this is like the first thing I ever sort of go through with people, and it gets us talking right away from the first class. So there's no like waiting to start talking, let's just start doing it. And you will, as you go through the process, you start to see how almost any question you get asked in Danish, you can use the short response pattern to answer it. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of it today. I don't have time to go through all of it, but maybe 20 minutes or so. And then I'm going to jump over to Patreon and sort of continue a little bit. So if you don't know, Patreon is where you can get access to all kinds of cool stuff like podcast show notes, weekly slang updates, live streams just like this one on all kinds of stuff, and DanishTube merchandise and bonus episodes from the podcast. So I'm going to drop you a link, I think, in the chat box. So if you want to, after this stream, you can go over to Patreon and check it out and continue learning a little bit more with this short response stuff. So let me just drop that now if I can. And I'm going to also open up the chat here. So I'm going to write some stuff in the chat box. Here it is. So, okay, first let me do this link. Jeg skriver lige et link til jer. DanishTube, det hedder patreon.com/DanishTube. Cool. So go and check out Patreon if that sounds like something you might be interested in. Otherwise, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to ask you some simple questions. For example, stuff like, det en something? Or det et something? So is that a, or is that a, whatever. And you have two ways to answer. You can answer positively or negatively. You can say, yeah, det det. Or, nej, det det ikke. You have to say in a stupid voice like I do. But, yeah, det det. Nej, det det ikke. And like I said, this pattern is really useful to get used to, because people use it all the time. It's a really quick way to give responses, and it will provoke, or I don't know, provoke is the right word, but it will get the person you're talking to continue a little bit the conversation, which makes your life easier, right? So let's just practice. For example, I'm going to start with some flashcards that I have here, and I might ask you, sådan her, det en nederdel? Det en nederdel? Jeg skriver det også, det en nederdel. What would your response be? Sådan. Rubbish Purple Lollies, what an amazing name. Ja, det det. Sådan. Ja, det det. Easy. What else do I have here? Ja, det det. Laura. Awesome. Easy. No, I'm not going to take that one. Let me think something else. I'm going to take... Where's all my cool stuff, man? Give me a second. I have so many flashcards thrown around on my table here. It's incredible. But we'll get into a rhythm in a minute. Kom så. Tak, Purple Lollies. Det er så fedt. Okay, det en nederdel? Det en nederdel? your response be this time? Er det en nederdel? Nej, det er det ikke. Sådan. Nej, det er det ikke. I know this seems a little bit childish, right? It seems a bit like, what is this? Trust me, it's going to be useful for you in the future. Er de nogle jeans? Nej, det er det ikke. Sådan, Laura, how are you, Laura? Er de nogle jeans? Er de nogle jeans? So I changed my question a little bit here. Er de nogle jeans? Sådan, ja, det er det. I might tweak my response a little bit and say, det er de in plural. There. Det er de. Det er det. Det er det. Sådan. Ja, det er det. Sådan. Præcis. Okay, I'm gonna drop the flashcards because they're annoying me a little bit. I'm just gonna take some stuff around that I have. I have plenty of stuff here to play with. So, er det en blyant? Er det en blyant? Er det en blyant? Sådan. Ja, det er det. Sådan. Ja, det er det. Præcis. Klar. Tusind tak. Ja, det er det. Er det en blyant? Er det en blyant? Hvad siger I? Det er en blyant. Nej, det er en kuglepen. Sådan, Brooke. Du var med. Nej, det er det. Det er ikke, Claire. Nice. Tak for det. Nej, det er det ikke. Rubbish purple lollies. Hit it on the head. Kender I ikke over? Jeg har svigtet duo. You're all correct. Det er en kuglepen. So you can say, like Brooke did, nej, det er en kuglepen, right? It's perfect to say it. And Claire said, det er ikke. You're technically missing the second D, right? I like to think of it as saying, det er, no, that is it not. You know, that is it, that is it not. You think a bit like Yoda speaking English. That is it not. So who was it? It was Rubbish, I can't get over your name. Rubbish purple lollies. Nej, det er det ikke. Det er ikke en blyant. Det er det ikke. Det er en kuglepen. So remember this pattern. Det er det. Det er det ikke. Cool, what do we have here? Er det en flaske? Er det en flaske? Undskyld, jeg kommer for sent. Brooke, du kommer altid for sent. Det gør det faktisk ikke. Ja, det er det. Sådan. Ja, det er det. Easy. Let's take one more. What do I have lying around here? This is genius. Er det en flaske? Er det en flaske? Er det en flaske? Hvad siger I? Nej, det er det ikke. Rubbish purple lollies. Nemlig. Nej, det er det ikke. Men jeg ved slet ikke, hvad man kalder det. Det er en iPad. Altså, den indeni er en iPad, og den her, den er sådan en ramme. Måske en beskyttelse. Jeg ved heller ikke, hvad man kalder det. Men den har jeg købt til min søn, fordi han er god til at smadre. Ja, han er god til at smadre ting. How would you say it's definitely not a bottle? Det er bestemt ikke en flaske. Det er bestemt ikke en flaske. Hvor tit laver du live med undervisningssession? Jeg forsøger at gå live hver uge, men det er nogle gange lidt tricky med min tidsplan. Men det vil jeg prøve at gøre fra nu af. Og undervisningssession, mener du klasser, lektioner, eller... Altså, det gør jeg næsten hver dag, hvis det er. Det er bestemt ikke en flaske. Okay, so you get the point, right? It's easy. But then I could change the question. Maybe a common thing people ask all the time is like, is it your something? So, for example, er det din kuglepen? Er det din kuglepen? So you have two ways to answer, right? Positively or negatively. Er det din kuglepen? Sådan her. What would your response be? Nej, det er en skærm. Sorry, Laura. Jeg har lige læst det. Præcis, det her, det er en iPad, og iPad'en har en skærm, selvfølgelig. Det har du ret i. Sådan, så nej, det er ikke min, det er den. Perfekt. Det er ikke min, det er den. Sådan. And if it was, what about if it was yours? Er det din kuglepen, den her? I'm checking your comments over here. Jeg læser kommentarerne herover. Det er derfor jeg kigger sådan her. Men jeg kan også gøre det. Ja, det er min kuglepen. Sådan. Er det min kuglepen? Brooke er så klog og kun 2 måneder i Danmark. Now I had it swelling. 2 måneder i Danmark, men hun har læst dansk i, jeg ved ikke hvor meget tid nu, i lang tid, Brooke, ikke? Mere end et år, tænker jeg. Ræk mig den. Sådan. Det er ikke min. Exactly, so you're all right. Again, perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah, det er min kuglepen. You could say it. It's perfect grammatically, but what about the short pattern, remember? Er det din kuglepen? Er det din kuglepen? Ja, selvfølgelig. Giv mig den. Ja, det er den. Hvorfor har du den? Giv mig den. Nej, det er ikke min. You can, Claire Wang, you can also say it. Claire Wang, kender jeg dig, Claire? Er det dig, der laver... Hvad laver du? Du laver Zumba? Er det dig? Måske? Det er min. Rubbish, purple lollies. Ja, det er min. Again, it's perfect grammatically, but with our short pattern, we want to say, det er det. Ja, det er det. Er det din kuglepen? Ja, det er det. And you could also say, det er den, because you're being specific about this thing. And it's in kuglepen, so you could call it den. Here it's no big deal, you say one or the other. It's kind of, yeah, whatever. Tak, Laura. Du er så venlig, men jeg har taget lektioner med Liam i mere end et år. Sådan, ja. Project leader. Okay, Claire. Måske er det ikke dig, jeg tænker på så. Men fedt. Velkommen til. Okay. So, then I could start to change the question. So, in the first examples, we were saying things like, er det in something, what do we have? Let's just say in kuglepen, because we've been using that. In kuglepen. So, we've had in flaske. Jeg sagde Zumba. I know a Claire who does Zumba in Denmark, and I thought it was that Claire, but maybe she has a similar name to you, I think that's why. I mean, she has the same name as you, but her surname, I mean, is similar. Jeg skal smutte, men tak for en hyggelig lille øvelse. Sådan, Brooke, vi ses. Ha' det godt. So, we were saying in flaske, because a bottle. How do I then say the bottle? So in flaske, how do I now say the bottle? Desværre ikke. Det er fint, det gør ikke noget. Flasken. Præcis. So all you do with all nouns is you put the article on the end of the word. So that's That's how simple it is. My Danish mind is kicking. So simple is it? So simple er det. What else did we have? Let's just use this cup. In cup becomes koppen now, right? So, sorry, correct my mistake here. Koppen. So, what was my point? What was my point? Lost my thread. In cup becomes koppen. So I could have also asked, for example, koppen din? A koppen din, is the cup yours? A koppen din? How would you respond? Positively or negatively? Koppen din. Hvad siger I? Koppen din. We can use the exact same response. Yeah, det den. Det det, det det ikke. Yeah, exactly. I would even, this is why I mentioned, like, now we're going from indefinite to definite. So before we had in cup, in Danish you call it ubestemt. And when we go to the bestemt form, the definite form, it's like now being specific about this cup. So it's really good practice if you start relating the det and the din to the item. So it's in cup, so I would say det den. A koppen din, det den, det den. Right? But if it was this table, which I know you can't see, but it's called et bord. In which case, if I ask, bordet dit, notice also the din and the dit, they also correspond to the gender of the table, because it is called et bord. Bordet dit, det dit bord, I can ask the same thing. It means the same. Bordet dit. Hvordan ville du svare på det? How would you answer it? Bordet dit. Bordet dit. Nu laver du live møde på YouTube hver uge, så kan jeg markere min kalender. Det bliver sådan, ligesom i dag, tænker jeg. Så jeg tænker, i næste uge, så gør jeg det igen. Så det var, det var klokken 6:30, 6:30 p.m. Danish time. Yeah. Let's make that a thing. Because, I mean, in general, I'm not going to say it's every week because, you know, some things can happen. Maybe I have to go somewhere or whatever. 6:30 on a Saturday. 6:30 p.m. Det er fedt, Claire, at du vil være med. Tusind tak for det. Præcis. 6:30 hver lørdag. Sådan. Okay, so bordet dit. Ja, det er det. It's exactly the same response as before. Ja, det er det. But now I'm saying det because it's et bord. I wouldn't say det er den. I mean, it's not a biggie. You'll be understood, right? But it's good to get into the habit of corresponding and piecing these things together, as with min and mit. So, okay. Then I could start to ask you about something completely different. Maybe the color of some stuff, right? Jeg kunne spørge om farverne, the colors. Just to give some other examples, I might ask, blyanten grøn? Blyanten grøn? Sorry, jeg skriver det her. Blyanten grøn? Sådan. Jeg bliver enten grøn. Er den? Hvad siger I? Jeg tager en anden lige her. Her var den. Er blyanten grøn? Ja, det er rigtigt. Præcis. Ja, det er rigtigt. Or without short response pattern, how would you answer? Er blyanten grøn? Præcis. Rubbish, purple, lollies. Det er den. Exactly. Perfect. Ja, det er den. Er blyanten sort? Er blyanten sort? Så er den klar. Ja, det er den. That was probably to the last one, right? But what about this one? Er blyanten sort? Eller hvis det var om den her, er du sikker? Nej, det er den ikke. Sådan. Præcis. Blyanten sort? Nej, det er den ikke. Det er den ikke. And of course, then you can correct it. Den er blå. Nej, det er den ikke. Den er blå. And again, this might seem a little bit like, okay, it's very textbook, seems very, but let's try to think of some natural situations where these kind of questions get asked. You're looking for something. Maybe it's a car. Er bilen, hvad er en fed farve for en bil? Lilla. Is it purple? Er bilen lilla? Right? Of course, in a natural context, you will already know you're talking about the car. So probably someone will ask you, er den lilla? Er den lilla? Right? Is it purple? Because it's very textbook, of course. Is the car purple? But there's nothing wrong saying. Er den lilla? So again, same thing. You have two responses. Ja, det er den. Nej, det er den ikke. Det er den ikke. Sådan. Exactly the same. So let's just take one or two questions that are common. For example, er dit navn Liam? Er dit navn Liam? How would you answer it using the show response, either positively or negatively? You can write both. Er dit navn Liam? Er dit navn Liam? Hvad siger I? Positivt, negativt. Hvordan ville man svare på spørgsmålet? Nej, det er det ikke. Det der. Præcis. Du har ret. Er dit navn Liam? Nej, det er det ikke. Perfect. So you can see it's exactly the same response. What if I ask er det... Nej, det er det ikke. Præcis. Sådan. Er det allerede klokken 20? Er det allerede klokken 20? Ja. Wow, er det allerede klokken 20? Wow, is it already 8 o'clock? So it's going to be the same, right? Your response is going to be, yeah, det er det. Nej, det er det ikke. And if we think about a normal context, like maybe I check my watch, like I don't have a watch, but if I did, well, er det allerede klokken 20? And my friend, sorry, is going to maybe say, det er det. And I'm going to continue the conversation. Or the opposite, your friend's going to say, er det allerede klokken 20? Ja, det er det. Nå, shit, jeg skal hjem, og bla bla bla. Så kører samtalen. So having these short responses really just makes the conversation continue to flow. And once you get used to it, I'll just give one or two more examples before I go, with different verbs. For example, kan du tale dansk? Kan du tale dansk? So now we have to change our response a little bit, because now we have to think, we need to say, yeah, that can I, or no, that can I not. That can I not. How would you answer this one? Kan du tale dansk? Cool. Ja, det kan jeg. Præcis, Claire. Sådan. Tak for det. Kan du tale dansk? Ja, det kan jeg. Det kan jeg godt. Often you hear got with the verb can. Or sagtens could be a nice word, which means easily. Det kan jeg sagtens. Or nej, det kan jeg ikke. But I always think it's funny when people say they can't speak Danish in Danish. It's kind of funny. Ja, det kan jeg. Det kan jeg lidt. Sådan. Præcis. Fedt. So that's just like a few simple examples, and it can of course get more and more with all different kinds of verbs like vil du, har du lyst til, må jeg, skal vi, and your response is always the same pattern, starting with det, but then changing with the corresponding verb or whatever it might be, and then there's some verbs where you respond using a different verb, and we can sort of go on and on down a little rabbit hole if you like here. I'm going to jump over to Patreon now. I'm going to drop you a link in here if any of you are interested. Go to Patreon and check it out. I'm going to refresh and start up a new live link and continue talking about this a little bit. But otherwise, see you again next week. I hope you find it useful, and yeah, let's do it again same time next week. Tusind tak for i dag. Vi ses. Ha' det godt. Jeg skal stoppe det heroppe. Hej alle sammen. Claire, Rubbish Purple Lolly's awesome name. Who else was with us today? Brooke, oh no, she already left. And Laura, hvis du er der. Tak. Ha' en god aften. Vi ses.